Hi, I'm Eric Knowles, President of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, and this is the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Member Connection. But before we get started, a word from one of our sponsors. The light's not, there we go. And welcome back. And as I said, this is the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, and it's a member connection. And you guys know I'm excited every time I do this because I just love our guests and, the work that I've done with them and they've done with the chamber and the chamber members. But this guest, I'm sitting here so elated to be here with the one and only, the infamous Miss Lynda V. Harris.
Hey, Eric, how are you?
Man, I'm great. Just sitting here to be here with you. We go back.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we got history.
We do.
1717 Northeast 17th Avenue.
The 305.
Yeah.
It's everybody that's born and raised in the 305. We all kind of know each other.
Right.
We've worked in the community. We've given back to the community, and we continue to do the work.
Exactly. And here you are, and I'm just going to be real because, that's what this is about.
Okay.
And for many years, I reached out to you about being on the board, and you were reluctant because you're so busy.
Yeah.
It's not like you're sitting down twiddling your thumbs, and it's the things that you're involved with. And finally, I convinced you. Well, we started a little different. You became the chairwoman of the Women's Business Council. We're going to talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
And then finally convinced you to be on the board, to be one. I take your leadership even further. But the Henderson Financial Group, Vice President.
Yes,
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Lynda first before we can get. Who is Lynda V. Harris? And let's talk about.
What a story. I often tell people when I'm speaking and they say, "What's your story?" And we all have one. Born and raised in Miami, got married at 19. Don't judge me. I thought I was in love. Divorced, second marriage. Meantime, I used that energy, turned that mess into a message. Went and got I think at one point I had 5 professional licenses, and just start doing the work, buying houses. Then I got a securities license and joined forces with my brother-in-law, Robert Henderson. And our motto is we want to make sure you don't outlive your money because, investment, stock market is foreign to a lot of households of color. Mm-hmm. We don't talk about the stock market at the dinner table.
Right.
What I mean?
When you say that, at the dinner table and growing up, we all sat at the dinner table.
We really did.
They don't do that.
At a certain time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That doesn't happen too much anymore. It happens, but not like it used to.
I think they eat more in the car than at the dinner
table. Crazy lifestyle we live now. But the one thing, to your point, I just remember my aunts and my mother, and they say, save your money. And that was it.
And most of the time it was in a bank.
Right.
It wasn't, in an ETF or a mutual fund or a stock exchange. And so we really spread the message. But as you know, we've been doing a show called Understanding Money for the last 17 years.
Right.
We were on the radio. Now we do Facebook Live. And it's a lot of fun. And again, it's so important, especially young people. I see they're now embracing, meaning the school system, financial literacy as young as the 8th grade.
Absolutely.
And we need it. I know people don't write checks anymore, but you should know how to write a check.
Absolutely. I still write. Every now and then you still got to write a check. Yeah.
So all those things, I am now every Monday I'm going down south and over town teaching the Girl Power Girls. We have a financial literacy every hour, Monday, 2 locations. So it's just a passion of mine and I love it. And women of color being the poorest in America, making less and living longer it's even more important, Eric, to teach women and young girls about money and building wealth.
Okay. And how long have you been a part of Henderson Financial Group?
25 years.
25 years.
25 years. And we make our clients money in the market, and then they buy real estate and they buy land. So now we pivoted. And as you know, I've been out there leading the initiative in building and developing.
Right.
And that was out of necessity. Boy, I tell you, no longer do you ask someone, what do you want to be when you grow up? Because we change. You know, we're 5 different things. You're
Absolutely.
not, you know what I mean?
Not just one dimensional.
No. So
and let's talk about that development. I mean, just yesterday, I mean, this is going to air, down the road, but you worked with Miami-Dade County and our mayor, Daniel Levine Cava, on a housing summit.
Absolutely.
And you talked about the fact, as you said, you're talking about financial literacy, and when it comes to owning property, and a lot of our parents and relatives may leave property to you or to those of us in the community, but then we don't know what to do with it.
Absolutely.
And I sat in part of your seminar in which you were moderating, and there was a lot of amazing information that was provided, in particular right now, because we're in the middle of a housing crisis in terms of affordability.
Absolutely.
And can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. Well, as you know, I came to you as the president of the chamber, and you were gracious enough to get us a meeting with the mayor and their team. They had already began putting together the housing summit. And again, thanks to your leadership, you were able to get us a breakout session. It was packed.
Absolutely.
It was
standing
absolutely
room. It was standing room
only.
Right.
And as you said, Big Mama may die, leave a lot. Very often, it's still in Big Mama name and she's dead. So now we got an issue with the title.
Okay.
So we have a entity for that. There's a tax issue. Nobody's paying the taxes. They don't know what to do with it. They get a flyer in the mail and they just sell it for below value because, you know what I mean?
They don't know.
They don't know. And now with our housing crisis, as you mentioned, density has changed.
Right.
You can now build 2 units on a single family lot.
Oh, 3
in some cases. 3 in some cases. So that's how you start generational wealth. You follow me? Now you can get the family living there. Very often people say, well, I don't have the money because the upfront costs, the architectural costs, the soil test, the appraisals, the construction costs. So we asked the mayor, and she was gracious enough. She has a building block fund now. There's about 15 hedge funds that pledged about $10 to $15 million. I've contacted over half, and all they're saying is, how can we help?
Wow.
How can we help? Very often people own the land free and clear.
Right.
And that can be their equity. They just don't know, Eric.
Right.
And it was so important to just get the word out.
Well, like you said, the one thing about the chamber, people really don't understand, how to engage and how to, as I say, always connecting the dots. Right. And it's because of the relationships that we have. And to be able to reach out to the mayor and say, we need to be a part of that. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I didn't hesitate to say, I need to put Lynda in the front of this. And you jumped in, and you were, as I said, the moderator, and the room was, like I said, standing room only. And people learned, I learned a lot in the little bit of time that I was able to stay there. Mm-hmm. But, they talked about impact fees being waived.
What? That's huge.
Talk
Eric.
about that a little bit.
Absolutely. See, the anatomy of a building is, number one, you got land. Okay, that's great. You don't owe anything on the land, free and clear. But when you start building and you go to the gentleman that was on the panel, Nathan, and they got to look at the environmental, and you need a report, $2,500. Okay, so now I need an as-built appraisal. Okay, $7,000. Okay, and the money just adds up. But when they talked about waiving impact fees and permit fees, that takes off $50,000 to $60,000 off the project. We don't know that. You follow me?
Right.
There are entities out there that'll front the money for you, and then you get what we call permanent loan on it. and you it's a mortgage now, but you have a new building.
Right.
It's really, really important. I've had people come up, and you've had people come up to you saying we should do this down south,
Absolutely.
right?
Well, that's the first thing I said.
You
As
sure
a matter of fact, I
did.
spoke to the mayor yesterday,
Okay.
and I said we really need to do this down south because it was at the Marlins ballpark, and a lot of people don't have the ability to come north. And I know there's a lot of us that own property down south,
Absolutely.
and for some reason, property is isn't as expensive down south.
Not yet.
Not yet, but it's creeping up.
Yes.
But the same thing up north between Opelika and Miami Gardens. People aren't able or not going to trek down to the Marlins Park. So I mentioned it to the mayor yesterday
Okay.
that we definitely need to take this show on the road. And she said, her response, yes, we'll do it. It may be a little more condensed because she said it was a lot of work, and it was a great event.
A great event.
You had a lot of vendors there, a lot of
moving
companies
parts
there.
Yes.
And so, but she is willing to do it. So we have to stay on her
Absolutely.
and her team to make sure we do that.
Well, you're
Now,
good at that.
Yeah, well, it's what we do.
It's what we do.
So now I want to segue in. Before I segue into that hat that you wear as the chairwoman of the Women's Business Council, I also want to thank you again for your leadership. And with that leadership, you are our incoming chairwoman next year in 2023.
Yes.
And what are your thoughts about that?
I'm just going to hold on to your hand. Just don't let my hand go. I'm excited.
I think we're going to be a formidable team.
I think we are too, Eric.
Because the one thing about you grab hold of something, you don't let it go.
Yeah, I do. The passion is there. The leadership in you is there. And I think there's nothing we can't do. We once we get an agenda,
right,
and we come up with what we want to do, we go for it. It may take time.
Yeah.
You know how to finesse.
Years.
I got 2 years.
You got 2 years.
Good deal.
So, yeah.
I think I'd like my platform to be the chamber getting a building.
Right. We've talked about that.
Whether it's a plaza, I think it'll be a great combination of because we have members that are GCs,
all of that,
right?
Yes.
Plumbers, electricians,
right,
property managers, project managers. What a beautiful thing to put all that together. FUBU, for us, by us.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And I think that'll be amazing. And sometimes that can take about 2 years.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We're starting now. Hopefully we'll get some land donated and we'll do our thing.
We got the right person in the room to do that because that's what you've been doing. And you've been doing development yourself, but I know we don't have a lot of time to dig deep into that. Okay. But talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. Right now, I'm in what we call a P3 public-private partnership with the city of North Miami.
Okay.
They donated the land, the CRA donated funds, and I am building a multifamily building for 50 and over. They call it elderly, but I beg to differ. 50, there's nothing elderly about 50.
Well, it's funny. I was listening to something the other day, and that's a couple of days ago, and they say the average lifespan is 80 years old.
Okay.
So they said really mid-age is 35 years old.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just think about 40 is half of 80.
Yeah. Wow.
But obviously we don't think about that.
No.
But anyway,
especially when you're in shape and you're living your best life.
Absolutely.
And life is good. We don't look at numbers.
No, we don't.
But that building is for 50 and over, and it's going to be what we call affordable and workforce.
Right.
Which, like you said, is at a crisis right now.
Right.
Next project is about a couple blocks from there, 21 units.
Okay.
And that demographic will be homeless. And it's so interesting, the definition of homeless. If you're sleeping on someone's couch and don't have a lease in your name, you're homeless. If you're living with your mother and you're an adult, you're homeless.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The definition of homeless is not somebody you see on the street.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's interesting.
You're out of college. You got a degree now. You can't find a place to live. You go bunk with 2 or 3 roommates. You're homeless. So we want to make some affordable housing for that demographic, and we're looking forward to that. And North Miami is working with us on that. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And the one thing great about that is that you are honing your skills, and then, as you said, you're working with North Miami, the city of North Miami, Mayor, BNMA, so on and so forth. but we got 34 municipalities
Absolutely.
in Miami-Dade County.
Absolutely.
So you could take that show on the road.
Absolutely. We got the plans, we got the crew, we got the know-how, and there's a need, more important.
Right.
We got the need for it, Eric. I believe we talked to a official from Opelika, which is where I grew up,
Right.
you know, which is now Miami Gardens. Boy, back then it was a different city. It is growing now. And they'd like us to come over there and do some things. There's a lot of land in that beautiful city
As a
as
matter
well.
of fact, they're getting ready. Matter of fact, we talked about this.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, because I sat down with the mayor, with the manager,
Okay.
and he started talking about the things they want to do. I said, "Hold up, I need to call somebody."
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I was approached by the city manager of North Miami Beach.
Okay.
And they like to do some things.
Mr.
Over
Soare.
there. Yes.
Sorry. I said Soare. Pardon me, Duke. Anyway.
So we're looking forward to doing that. But I'm just excited for what we have coming on at the chamber, in addition to our little black dress and pearls.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you segue into that because we got a little bit of time.
Okay.
And I just want to talk about the fact that, as I said, you know, you became a member of the chamber and you became the chairwoman of our Women's Business Council. And you had the insight and the wisdom to create what is now the Little Black Dress and Pearls, one of our major events, and which is going to happen July 30th.
Yes.
And so for the last several years, you've brought some dynamic, outstanding speakers to address the challenges that women face each and every day, whether it's just living, whether it's financial, whether it's literacy, and the different things that we have to deal with. But talk about this year's event.
Absolutely. Can you believe it's been 6 years?
It's wow.
6 years. I took over the Women's Business Council from Priscilla Dames.
Right.
Who we absolutely love. Back then it was called the Hat and Tea Luncheon.
Correct.
So we wanted to tweak it a little bit and it's
shouts
now
out
called,
to Priscilla.
Shouts out to Priscilla.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little Black Dress and Pearls. There's power in the pearls. # women, wisdom, and wealth. And to see, Eric, a sea of 300 plus beautiful women, it is the summer event must attend. We have Congresswomen, as you know,
Absolutely.
Every commissioner. Yes, we want men there. We love our men there. Now we're getting a lot more men, which is great.
Right.
And this year we have Marcia L. Dyson.
Okay.
She is, and I don't like to connect a woman to her husband, but she is the wife of the infamous Michael Eric Dyson.
Right.
But she's a beast.
Right.
Her champion for women's issues. She is amazing. If you don't have your ticket, you need to get your ticket.
Absolutely.
We're expecting a sellout, and the response have been amazing.
Yeah,
so,
and as I said, with the challenges that women are having
my goodness,
right now, nationally, and always been challenges internationally with women and the things that you all have to, they talk about pull up your bootstraps and so on and put on your big boy pants or whatever,
yes,
big girl pants.
Absolutely.
And now more than ever, this conversation needs to be had. So, I really appreciate and I look forward to your leadership as the chairwoman coming up in 2023. You. But again, the Little Black Dress and Pearls with Miss Dyson speaking and your leadership is going to be a dynamic day.
It really is. We always have the best vendors. We come out, we mingle for a minute. Our vendors are female business owners. Some of the unique, most valuable items, artwork, artifacts, jewelry, services. We are sipping champagne, if you're into that,
right,
as we're shopping. This year we got a little surprise. Okay. We always introduce the ladies differently.
You always have
got
some
a little
surprises.
Something, exactly.
But with the little bit of time we have left, how can someone get in touch with the Henderson Financial Group?
Absolutely. Phone number 305-825-1444. And I'll also give out my mobile number.
Please.
954-559-9816.
Well, this has been the Member Connection at the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining in. If you want to know more about the Chamber, you can go to www.m-dcc.org, or you can call the Chamber at 305-751-8648. Thank you for tuning in.